All right, everyone. Like good talent, I was waiting for my cue to go. Hello, my name is David Ushery. I'm an anchor here at WNBC in New York City, coming to you from 30 Rock. And he said sarcastically, not much going on in New York right now, but there's nowhere I'd rather be than with you here for NBCU Academy. I'm sure you've heard it in many different ways today, but it is really one of the crown jewels of the NBC family. It has emerged. It wasn't here when I started. It is here now, and we are all so happy to be a part of this. We hope you've had just an exciting, riveting day and an enriching day, and we hope to add to it with this session on the elevator pitch. We've all heard the phrase, right? That quick, rehearsed, to-the-point sales pitch that you can make your point, sell yourself, sell your pitch on your project. So we've got a roster of folks right here from all over the NBC Universal family, and boy, they are really great, and they're going to help us sharpen our pitches. So when I say us, I mean myself as well. I'm listening. It's been a while since I've had to make one, but you never know. But that being said, let's get right to it. And we thought the best way for you to meet our panelists was for them to actually give their own version of a sales pitch. They listen to them all the time, so they know what they should and should not include. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves by way of a sales pitch. And I suppose we will start with you, Martha.
Thank you, David. And David, we may put you on the spot and have you give an elevator pitch too. So
okay, then let me take notes.
Thank you. Everyone, I'm so excited to be here. We do hope that you get some pointers and tips and tricks that you could apply immediately to your elevator pitch. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself and give a little bit of my own elevator pitch. I'm Martha Lopez. I fell in love with recruiting over 20 years ago. I grew up in a border city of San Diego. Never thought I'd end up working for some of the biggest entertainment companies. And the reason I didn't have these expectations is because as a young girl, where I grew up, we weren't surrounded by those that had jobs in media, big jobs in media as well. I had to venture out to get that exposure. And once I did, I realized that my goal was to find opportunities to give that little girl who grew up just like me information on how she too can get a dream job. I currently manage the talent acquisition team that staffs the shows for NBC News and MSNBC. And our team's focus is to consistently ensure a fair and equitable interview process so that those who didn't have mentors or guidance can fairly compete for these jobs. And one of the ways that we do this, and actually my favorite thing to do, and today is a perfect example, is participating in events where we can equip as many people as possible with information and insights that could help them land a job with us or in this industry.
All right, there you go, Martha. James?
Hello, everyone. My name is James Arroyave. I'm the talent acquisition manager here at NBC Universal. I'm what you call a career recruiter. Over 16 years of experience in recruiting, 9 of those being with NBC Universal. I cover, with my team, we cover the 31 stations of Telemundo, 11 stations of NBC. I lead a team of 4 recruiters. We focus everything in a newsroom, everything from your entry-level positions, such as associate producers, all the way up to your exec-level positions of GMs and presidents of news stations. We do dabble a little bit in technology also. We'll do a couple APC operators, technical positions, but we focus pretty much on the news side. With that experience, I just, lost my train of thought there for a second. I apologize.
Yeah.
But with that experience, I can tell you that we're here. Well, the idea for us is to tell the stories and know what's going on. And what we're here is to let you know that we're here to help. So use my experience, use what's going on, and with this group to come to reach out, ask questions. We're here for you guys.
Absolutely. And we want to remind you, you will get a chance. We're going to save some time for you to try your elevator pitch before this august panel. So don't be nervous. Don't be shy. This is a great opportunity for you to give it a shot. We see your questions coming up in the chat, so we're going to get to some of those for sure. But before we do that, let's hear from Gianna Osorio.
Thank you, David. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today. My name is Gianna Osorio, and I'm currently a talent acquisition recruiter at NBCU, supporting hiring for our entertainment businesses at the company. So that encompasses film, Universal Studio Group, and our Entertainment Content and Networks Group as well. And I got my start in talent acquisition about 4 years ago at DreamWorks Animation, where I supported recruitment there for both creative roles and technical roles. And then following that, I did work in tech recruiting over at TikTok, helping to build out their privacy and cybersecurity organizations before ultimately returning to NBCU. But in addition to managing full cycle recruitment and acting as a talent advisor for my client groups, I have a track record of building strong talent pipelines in order to fill difficult niche positions. I'm super passionate about connecting talent to opportunities and helping individuals with their career development. So I'm very excited to be, part of this panel today.
All right, great. And so we can see a wide range of the pitches that you all hear. Justin, let's hear from you before we get to the meat of this session.
All right, thanks, David. I am Justin Stratton, and I am an opera singer turned recruiter. I joined NBCU in 2021, supporting our advertising and partnerships division, really focused on everything that is revenue generation, sales, insights and research, strategy, marketing. Prior to that, I was with a staffing agency as a staffing manager, leading a team of 6 focused on primarily human resources, marketing, and admin support roles for a variety of clients across New York. I started my New York career actually with a global ad agency called Digitas, supporting their creative and technology teams before moving to a startup called Mark Fisher Fitness as their head of sales and marketing, focused on serving the Broadway world. So as a DEI advocate here, I am proud to sit on the NBCU Bold Vets editorial board, as well as partner with our nonprofit Upwardly Global partner that helps to engage the immigrant and refugee population to help diversify our internal workforce, which I think is really great. So I'm excited to be here today and hopefully share some learnings from my own career for anyone that's watching.
And Justin, if I were to sing my elevator pitch to you, would that score points or no? Should I not lean in on that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you better wait until I hear me sing. Okay. A lot of ground to cover. I see some of the questions emerging on some of these themes. And panelists, one line of demarcation, if you will, or maybe not, is a written pitch and then your video pitch. So let me ask you just, Danielle Therese Abernica says, what kind of mindset do you think one should have to stand out among the other candidates? And I'll combine that with what catches your eye in the first paragraph if it's written of an essay. Want to go back to you, Martha, first, or doesn't matter? I'll jump in.
Sure. I always like to see a candidate, either written or verbally, lead with what they want to get out of that pitch, right? So like a very brief introduction to who they are. And I also want to hear like, what is their end goal? And you have to do that concisely. And I know that you probably have some questions around like, what are the components around an elevator pitch? But I think just leading with a strong introduction of like who you are and what you want to get out of this little pitch, why you're pitching me. Hope that helps.
James, you agree?
I do. If I focus on mine, you talk about your career, what I did, what I can help you out with. I want to make sure that you understand that I have the experience and I'm a professional to help you out. So focus on that on your pitch, on your either written or video pitch. What is it about you? What are you trying to get out of, and what are you trying to help out?
What are some of the things Troy Tompkins asked? What are some of the best things someone can highlight when pursuing a video journalist / producer opportunity? Johnny, they're asking, what are some of the things to highlight when they're pursuing a video journalist or producer type opportunity? So you have your written pitch, but for those of you who have to review video, if you will, or that, what should they include? I mean, we're oversimplifying a reel, but if we're talking about a pitch that they have you for a few seconds, what would you suggest?
Throwing it my way?
Yeah, jump in.
All right.
It's a fair one.
All right, no problem. Remember who your audience is. That's one of the things I would tell you straight out with. Try to see who your audience is if you know who you're focusing to. If it's exec level people, if it's just trying to general public, you know who you're trying to talk to. Develop that pitch to be able to connect with that person. If it's entry-level people, if I'm talking to a group of entry-level students, I'm not going to talk the same way as I will with an exec. So know your audience, develop a pitch that focuses on that, and make sure that you're connecting with them the best way possible.
Is there a line or a balance of how much of your story to share? In other words, we sometimes wrongly characterize some folks as too focused on me, but yet I imagine they want to distinguish themselves with trying to connect with you. Where's the line? Where's the balance for them, Justin? I think you understand what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the elevator pitch should be personal. It's your story, So I think where you can put some energy and focus in is look at it through a business lens. Where in your personal story is there a correlation between the job that you want or the job you're going after, the person that you're talking to, and what skill sets do you naturally bring to the table? What are your values? Maybe the company resonates something there. So it's really being able to talk about yourself in a non-braggadocious way, finding that fine line, right, of what you've accomplished, what you hope to bring to the table, where you've had success, and what you can do for them moving forward. I think those are really kind of the big rocks.
You'll want to. Go ahead, Martha. Yep.
David, I wanted to layer something in that because that question has come up quite a bit of times when I've sat on panels. Is like, how do you, refrain or not seem like you're bragging too much? And Justin, gave a great example of how to strike that balance. I would even say, and I would even challenge the audience in picking conflicts and challenges that you've seen in your career that you've overcome, right? The theme is on storytelling, like you've participating in how to tell a story, how to tell a news story, how to tell a story through the director's lens. Now this is storytelling about you, right? And in a story, the character always has to overcome conflict. Like you're rooting for the character, right? Overcome challenges. So if it's perfectly normal to go through layoffs, right? With how the job market is going right now. If you do go through a layoff, what did you do? How did you react to that layoff? Did you create and produce a podcast? Did you start writing a blog? We want to hear those stories. That tells a complete story of you, your successes, and how you overcame obstacles that you faced.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. I'm very curious to hear that, because some from a news background would say, well, the story is about someone else. It's not me. It's hard for me to talk about myself. But pinpointing on a challenge or something overcome and something relating to the mission of what you need as the one hiring. Gianna, I want to ask you, because you've seen a varied worlds there, the TikTok world, the social media world, you're back in the NBC orbit. Just in terms of structure, is there a format? What should a pitch kind of include? Is there a standard one? How long should it be? Just some structural details overall. We know it's not absolute.
Yeah, no, those are great questions. And if you were to do research online, you're going to see there's a whole ton of different articles and methods. So what we've come to realize is there really is no one size fits all approach to the elevator pitch. You can really adopt whatever it is that you like and what makes sense for you. But I know today we wanted to share kind of our recommendation or approach to it. So we would recommend to structure your elevator pitch in terms of 3 main buckets. So that first bucket you'll want to cover is, who are you and what do you do? So you'll want to approach that potential employer or person that you're going to give your pitch to with a confident smile, a handshake, and state your full name. So that's kind of the first step, is you want to make sure you give your full name. And then you'll want to summarize in a sentence or two, your education or your professional experience that's relevant to the role. And then that second bucket is, what are you looking for? So consider what you know about the role or the company. You'll want to share your goals and make yourself relevant to that company or that job. And then lastly, that third bucket is, what is your unique value? So I would highlight what value you will bring, to that person or their organization. And then in terms of length, David, that's a good question as well. So, an elevator pitch should be anywhere from 30 up to 90 seconds total. I wouldn't go beyond 90 seconds.
Okay.
The goal to really deliver your pitch in the time that it would take to ride an elevator up to your desired floor. So that's kind of where that name came from. So you do want to be concise with your story, and you should try to practice your elevator pitch, and you can time yourself just to make sure, you're within that time frame.
Justin, I wanted to ask you, in your arena, because we are talking about storytelling, and Martha and James and Gianna all alluded to it, but in your arena, in your recruitment area, how do candidates incorporate storytelling? And you come from a performing background, but when you get to some of the more numbers crunching, what have you, what do you look for in the pitch, and how can you help those who would apply?
Sure, yeah. Everybody has a story, and it's, kind of to what Martha was saying, it's the way that you craft that story that really can bring somebody into the conversation. In a sales organization, it's all about the pitch, right? We're trying to bring money in for everybody. So I will have, initial phone conversations with people who will talk about their senior class project and ask if they can share a deck with me. They'll tell me about a time when they had to work with a challenging team. What were those challenges? What did they do to then overcome it? So there are lots of ways to tell those stories, but I think also, to Gianna's point, practice. Like you're going to need to be able to have it for, if you're going on one floor, are you going on 12 floors, right? Like, how in depth do you want to go? The elevator pitch is essentially just that. It's a pitch. It's an intrigue. It's a tease of what you could potentially bring to the company, of what you've done in the past to bring you to this moment in time. So those are the things that you want to be able to capitalize on, and when you're thinking about building that narrative.
And obviously, for some positions, the presence, if they're doing it in person to you, or it matters. But what if someone is not accustomed to that and they're nervous? When you're recruiting, are you able to discern? I know you are, but reassure those who might be intimidated by the process of what you're looking for in their pitch. Not so much if they're ready to win the Academy Award, but certain things that that you guys, because of your experience, are able to discern. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Yes, it's very normal and natural to be nervous in an interview setting. From my perspective, that's actually a positive. It means you care, right? That you're invested in how this conversation goes. As a recruiter, my job is to hopefully put you at ease during the conversation, being able to ask open-ended questions, make you feel comfortable, follow up on those questions if things aren't clear. I've even been in conversations with folks where you can tell they're nervous, their voice is shaking, right? They're trembling if it's a video call or in person, and you can say, I need a moment, right? Great question. I just need to think about that for a moment. It's totally acceptable. And honestly, it shows a maturity if you're able to take that moment, that step.
James, you want to add to that?
No, he nailed that perfectly. That's exactly it. Take your time. Say your speech. Understand what you want to. I'd rather you give me a well thought of answer than just blur anything out really quickly. So definitely, take your time with it. Understand your story. Understand the question. Take a deep breath and get in the other. But yes, as Justin said, it is our job to make you feel as comfortable as possible. So if you're not feeling that way, mention it. Give me a second. Can I just, could we reschedule this or something? If you're not really there, the only problem is that is that one time you shot. You want to give your best chance. You want to show your best bit. So be prepared. Be prepared. Do your research. Do your homework. Do your homework. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. It's a big deal.
James. I'm told we have a lot of people, this is good, who actually want to come on camera and give their pitch. So the guys, folks, Clarissa, whatever, let me know. But just real quickly, Martha, Gianna, what should be left out? What kind of turns you off? And maybe you can speak for the panel. I mean, I know it's, again, generalities. In an elevator pitch, what probably shouldn't be included, or what's a bad move, bad look? Gianna?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I would say maybe details that aren't so relevant to whatever position it is that you're trying to pursue, because you really want to highlight those transferable skills and the relevant experience so that you can connect the dots for the person that you're giving that elevator pitch to, why they should consider you, why you'd be a stellar candidate, et cetera. So yeah, I would say if there's any non-relevant kind of experience or skill sets, I would say it's best to leave those out of your pitch.
Okay. And for me,
I-
that would be singing, Justin. But anyway, I'm sorry. Martha?
So David, I would say not only know your audience, who you're pitching to, but also understand the setting. So if you're at a dinner that is posed as more of a networking opportunity, right? It's an industry dinner. You're not going to hand them your resume at the dinner, right? If it's a networking opportunity, say like a career fair or an actual job interview, have that resume ready and or have your LinkedIn profile ready to go. You could generate a QR code, exchange contact information right away. So know your setting, not only your audience, but know your setting.
Okay.